Chris, who are these people?
Well, I mean, you've seen these people. They're the ones who crowd around the gate just before the plane takes off, trying to get those last couple of seats for upgrades. And they all feel like they deserve that last seat. And sometimes they do incredibly obnoxious things. I mean, I discovered people who had gone on tirades inside the aircraft, people who had, one person was seated next to another person in first class and demanded that they give up their seat so that someone else could sit with them. I mean, they're doing all sorts of really unbelievable things. And, the point I made in the story was that it's time to call these people out. When you're behaving obnoxiously, it doesn't matter what class of service you're sitting in, you're behaving obnoxiously, and it's time to say enough is enough.
Explain that one about the guy in first class who asked the passenger next to him to move so one of his friends could sit in first class.
That's right. Well, this was told to me by someone who was a frequent flyer, happened to be sitting in first class next to someone, and that person said, look, I've got a friend who's in economy class, and I am a Delta Medallion member, and as such, this friend of mine deserves to sit with me, so you need to stand up and go to the back of the plane and trade seats with my friend. And she said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Wow. We're speaking with Christopher Elliot, consumer advocate, also author of a book entitled How to Be the World's Smartest Traveler. And we're talking about putting entitled travelers in their place. All right, so this stuff seems like it's happening between some of these entitled travelers and other travelers, and at other times between those elite travelers and gate agents, for example. So how can this all be managed?
Yeah, it's not even so much an airline thing. As I say in the story, ground zero is the first-class cabin of your next flight, but it happens all over. It happens actually in hotels. There was a very well-publicized incident over the summer with something called waffle rage, where someone decided that they didn't have to wait in line at breakfast, and they cut into the front of the line and started what could best be described as a race riot. There were people who were hitting each other, and the police had to be called, and they were all expelled. So, it doesn't just happen on planes. What can be done about it? Well, I think calling people out, first of all, and saying, look, we are all going to the same place, and one of us isn't better than the other. And I think that's really the problem, is that there are people who honestly believe that they're not just entitled to a better class of service, but that they are actually better than everyone else on the plane. And that's very dangerous thinking right there.